Hey everybody, welcome back to Rust Belt Diecast Customs. The video you're about to watch is part of a longer video in which I'm customizing a 68 Mercury Cougar into a drag car. This is how I did the interior. Thanks for watching.
Right now we're going to focus on the interior. So what I was saying is I'm going to cut out this passenger seat. So I need to, if you look under here, you'll see there would be a negative space when I cut it out against the roll bar. So what I'm going to do is fill that in with the lid from a coffee can. So it's kind of the perfect thing. So all I'm going to do is cut this seat out and then just fill the back, backfill it with the coffee can lid, super glue in place, and then that should take the primer pretty well once I smooth it all out. So I just have a sharp hobby knife here and hopefully won't cut myself. See how much I can actually get into this thing. And then I'm gonna have to trim a little bit after the fact, but the main thing is to just get this passenger seat out. So just get in as far as I can here. And that's down the side of the vehicle, and now I'm just gonna go down the center console there. Just kind of getting pressure on it. And the knife just slides right through. So there's that. Now the tricky part is gonna be I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. I'm just gonna get the tip of the knife in behind the seat. And that should kind of separate it there. A little sloppy, but I'll be able to clean that up easy. And then right now I'm going to try to not cut the driver's seat as I'm coming down on it. I have to spin this around this way. So then you just connect the lines. It's not the simplest or cleanest process, but it definitely gets the job done. So it felt like I went through. Something's hanging up here. I think it's on this side. So once you get it through, it's just a matter of finding the hang up. It's right there. So we'll get through that part. Just got a little more there. Should just come right out. So there you have it. Nice little passenger seat I can maybe use on something else. And then we have this gap here. So what I'm going to do is, you can see there's still some material there. What I'm going to do is clean that up and then fill in with a chunk of the coffee can lid and also the floor. I'll make the floor of the coffee can lid as well. So let me get this cleaned up, and there's a couple other little just casting issues that I saw that I can kind of clean up with the hobby knife. So I'll do that and we'll be right back. I was able to get that nice and cleaned up now. So you can see the seat is flush now with the back. Seat is flush with the back there, and all the kind of trash stuff along the edges is cleaned up. So there's this little edge here, which I'm going to point to here with my tipless knife or whatever. So there's this little edge here that we're going to glue to, and this back. So what we're going to do is try to cut this line here and make it go flush straight across. So all we have to do, so I just cut this little chunk out of the coffee can lid. This stuff is super easy to work with. It's really lightweight kind of material. So we're just gonna cut what's about the width there. Cut as straight as we can on that part. Pretty damn straight there. A little bit off of that side and we'll be good. Just square up a piece, so flat on each side. So that piece looks like it's gonna work in the back there. We're gonna miss a little notch there. So what I have now is I'm gonna make this piece, now that I have the measurement, I can cut up looking at the car about how far I think I have to go up. And then I'll take the old seat First I gotta make sure that that's pretty close. And then I can take the old seat and you see what I'm doing? I'm kind of off camera here. Take the old seat, line it up there, and round the edge out like that, because it needs to come over. So once I get that, I'll just square that up, and then this piece that I have here should just fall right into place next to that seat. See there? A little high on it. That'll work. And then I can just cut where it needs to be cut here. Perfect. It's all just a kind of a guessing game thing. So now you can see when I drop this in, it fits flush along there. So now that I have the inside part done, now I just need to cut this little excess piece. So I can kind of score it with the knife where it needs to be. Come across. These hobby knives are no joke, man. I mean, I cut myself so many times that I feel like I'm immune to it at this point. But it still hurts a lot to get cut by one of these. So there's our odd looking piece. But when you get it in there, fits right in. So now we're just gonna glue it to the back, and this process is super easy because it's just super glue. So here's a little super glue, and just get it where it needs to be there on the edges, across the back, and we're gonna slide it in like so. And then just let it dry, and what we're going to do then is come back with either a file or some sandpaper and smooth it into where you can see that it's like, you can tell that it's not part of the roll bar right now. So we're going to smooth it in so that it's part of the roll bar, and then when we prime it, we'll be good to go. So the next step is going to be to make that base piece. And we'll just use the same little chunk here, and we're going to be coming from the bottom on this. So it's going to be like that. So you can actually see that it will have some depth to the seat. So same exact process. We're just going to figure out where it needs to be, and it's going to have to be a little bit in. So I have that cut to make there. Beautiful. And then, depending on where that's going to sit, we're going to have to bring it in, because this still needs to have the base attached to it. So it's right about there. Cut that off. And the super glue is starting to harden up and stick to my fingers now. So that's going to go across there, and just a slight little bit off of that point. Still not square. It's surprising how square these things actually are. These little plastic bases to the cars. So that'll go there and slide right in and act as our floorboard. There you go, slide right in there. So where we're gonna glue this is gonna be, where's my glue? We're gonna glue here, a little glue there, and against the back of this base of the other seat that we just put in. So we take our piece, again, same thing, slide it in. It gets a little messy, and as long as it's touch and glue, it'll harden up just fine. And you can see it's not really all that square. All we gotta do is just put it above the seat to fix that issue. Put a little more glue on the edge just to seal it in. More glue on the seam here. And that's gonna be our floorboard. Let's see, really simple. There are going to be some gaps there, which we are going to fill. I'll show you how to do that too. It's not, yeah, I mean, it could be an exact science if you want it to be, but they're all a little bit different. So like you can see even the angle of this, not perfect, but it's gonna work for what we need. And I might go and clean that up a little bit, flatten it out, but I think I'm probably just gonna do filler, because what we're gonna do now is build a little control box in here. We're gonna build a taller shifter and stuff, because this is gonna be a drag car. As mentioned, there is a gap. You can see the light through it. And here's how we're going to fill it. We're going to use... This is actually a method for hardening super glue, but I use it for filler too. So you just take the super glue, run the edge there, a good bead, and then dump some of the baking powder over it. And you can see, totally fills the gap. Turn it around. No light through it. So that's a method to fill these little gaps, and it's easier than using like filler or something. You know, you're not going to see the base of this, so you can just kind of slop it up however you need to. And there you go. It's good to go. And then once we hit that with primer and everything, it'll be all right. So now we're going to move on to the sanding and molding stage. And that's next. Now that the glue is set, and so as you can see, that's the baking powder. We're just gonna get in there, get that with a file maybe. But I'm using this as a 220 grit sandpaper, and look at this, thank you. And we're just gonna go and hit this edge, so you can see the edge that I'm talking about, how it's kind of squared off, and we need to get it flush with this, with the roll bar, so that it kind of grades in. You just work it. It actually goes pretty quickly. You'd be surprised how quickly it actually kind of meshes itself in. You'd think it would be a long, painstaking process, but I'm here to show you it's really easy. So easy, I'm almost done. It's tough to get your fingers in there. You know, everything's so tiny. Alternatively, you can use a sanding wheel, but I wouldn't, because you might take off too much material. All you want to do is just flush it up. So it's going to look almost like a wall. So you can already see that it's starting to flush up there. And then once we get all the glue shrapnel cleaned off of it and everything, it's going to be pretty smooth. You can also use an emery board here. You can actually take off a little material better with it, but I found this method works just fine. So I'm going to get in there with my trusty little wood screw that I use on occasion and dig out some of the excess shrapnel there. And you can see we are pretty smooth, especially on that edge there. That looks really nice. So I'm going to work it a little bit more, get it smooth, and then we'll get in there with paint, get it painted up. What I'm going to do is black interior, and then I'm going to do a white seat with black straps and a chrome belt, and then we'll get the rest of this fixed up. We're going to have a black box in there and a fire extinguisher as well, so I'm going to build all that stuff from scratch. So we'll have that as part of this too. Right now I'm taking and filing down where the baking powder was, and it actually worked out really well with this file. I was able to sit it right on the edge there and get it nice and flush with the original panel. So that worked out really well to do that. So sometimes stuff like that, you know, it works. I want to get this on the base now, which is right here. Really nice base, by the way. I'm going to get all this cleaned up. I'm going to paint this black to match the interior. So this thing, the little oops, sorry, the little spoiler fits up there, and you can see sits really nice on the base, nice and smooth, clean, everything's together. So that's going to look really nice once it's all done up. And now I'm just going to paint the interior black using this. This is my usual paint that I use. It's just an enamel black, you know, whatever, standard paint. So what I'm going to do is paint the whole thing black, and I'm going to come back in and do the roll bars in chrome and a white seat. So this paint covers these interiors really nice. And as you can see, that seam just virtually disappears. So there we are, all covered and in enamel, and we're gonna let this set and dry overnight. So tomorrow we can come back and paint in the white seat and all of the details therein. And it's funny because right now it really looks like just a sloppy mess, but when this stuff dries, it really thins and smooths out. So you can kind of glop it in just a little bit, little gloppy, and it'll turn out really nice, a matte finish. After looking at this a little bit more, I decided that more of the interior should be white, because the car is going to be white, and this part technically should be like sheet metal, part that I filled in there. So let me get the light a little closer here. And so I have this kind of thick white, and I have my smallest detailing brush. So I'm going to try to get in here and just cover this area up to the the bar, because the top of that bar, that's going to be the chrome part. So I like this paint because it's real smooth. It's just like the black, same stuff. So I can get a nice crisp line there, fill in spots like that. It's a little thinner, but it flows really nice, and it's not going to dry blotchy or anything like that too, so we should be good there. So I'll come right up to the roll bar, and then we'll do the floor now. I don't want to do the whole interior white, just the parts that would be the sheet metal. I might even do the sides of the interior here. I'm looking at it, probably should do the sides as well, but that other side, the driver's side, is going to be really difficult if I do that. That looks like that just made the decision for me, so I'm going to paint that in too. So I think that looks pretty nice. It's probably going to need a second coat just to kind of fill, so I'm not really glopping it in too much, because if I get it too gloppy, second coat might look weird. So I'm going to probably stop there, finish up that line, and again the chrome's going to go across the top, so that'll fill nicely. And I'm contemplating painting the seat, but I want to at least get this inside, this other part here. Should probably be using the helping hands for this, but feeling kind of gentle today, so be able to cut that line nice and neat. Oh, it's beautiful. So if I come from the inside or the bottom, I'll be able to just fill that in. So that's gonna be the white interior, and I'm wondering if it needs a white. Should the seat be white, buckles be black? Let's do it. Let's get weird. So you can see where the detail is on the buckles. We're just going to want to go right in between that. Just split the difference. There we go. Sweet. That worked. I'll paint the very top of the seat here because the rest will be the roll bar. And then the other side of the seat there. Perfect. And then I want to keep that center console black. So of course I got to make things difficult for myself. And there we go. Beautiful, beautiful. Let's see, so down here it's really just going to be like that part would be white because some buckles come down. We'll just connect these pieces and maybe touch up with the black a little bit on that side later. But that's the general idea here. Probably gonna have to come back in with black again and touch that up. And then we'll do the chrome on the buckles. Probably another coat of white, but that'll be the white interior. The dash I'll keep black because I can put like some chrome details on there and stuff. Same thing with the steering wheel. So this actually should, because the glass on this thing is pretty clear. Let me just get it out. The glass is pretty clear, so you'll actually be able to see through to the white interior, so that'll look nice. So we'll let that dry, probably throw another coat on, and then start putting the rest of the interior together with a couple more things and the sweet little custom fire extinguisher that's going to rest up front. Now that I have this all painted, I ended up painting the back white too because I thought like that's going to be showing through too. So all of the whatever would be sheet metal needed to be white. And I touched up the black so the seat has the belts again and the center console is a straight line again and throughout. So I really like the way that this turned out with the white and the black. So I talked about putting the fire extinguisher in the front, and so I built the world's smallest fire extinguisher. It's the top of one of these cocktail toothpicks, as you can see with the ridges and stuff, and then I cut off a little piece of a paper clip. So I kind of was looking at a fire extinguisher I have in the shop here and thought that would be perfect. So what I'm gonna do is just add a little dab of super glue because it's gonna go up in the front here. So I'm just gonna add a little dab of super glue up there and we'll pick it up. I want it to be facing that direction and we'll just drop them in there. Oh no, get off. There we go. Come on, get up there. Get up there. There you are. It's going to be like not really there, but more like there. There we go. So hopefully that'll stay. So you can see now he's got his fire extinguisher ready to go, you know, just in case. And now we can go in and paint some of the chrome. So I'm using this the Testors chrome paint again. Shook it up really good. Let's glue that out of the way. And I'm using a really small detailing brush because the first spot I need to hit, so I can wipe a little off there and just use the edge. First spot I need to hit is that seat belt. So the clasp on the seat belt, which is going to go, it's a 5-point harness, so it's going to go right in the middle. Perfect. So there's the little itty bitty tiny clasp on the seat belt. So the other chrome part is going to be the, I always like to do the tip of the shifter, which is, this is an important part of a drag car, so we got to make that pop out. And then there's really not much else in there, so I'm going to kind of add details. So I'm just going to put a little, I don't know, I'm assuming there's like a gauge of some kind right here. So I'm going to put like a A little bit of chrome there, like as if that's like a, I don't know, maybe that's the speedometer or something, I don't know. But like that's all the chrome that I'm gonna put in the cab, and then for the roll cage, or the roll bar it's not even a cage. All right, there we go. I'm gonna go ahead and paint that in, and I love this chrome because you can do really nice fine line work with it. You can see that it's not bleeding into the white, it's just covering the black, and I really like that aspect of this Testors chrome paint. And like even this edge that was a little rough, I can go in and just touch the edges of it, and it looks like a nice straight line. Trying to keep in mind where everybody is here. I need to have the camera. As long as it's a straight line going down, it's gonna look good. I want to get all the way down through here. It's nice of them to provide a roll bar. Didn't have to build one. Trying to be careful here because I do have a little bit of wet chrome or wet black paint through here. I'm just trying to get straight lines because the chrome is the last thing to go on, so you just get straight lines up and down. You should be good to go. Almost knocked the paint over again. In the last build, I knocked the paint right, chrome paint right over, spilled all over my bench. That was not cool. What's nice too is there's got to be some kind of a metal in this paint because it dries. When it's drying, it looks like the T-1000 from Terminator. So I'm trying. Maybe I should get this, make that back chrome too, so it looks like a continuous piece, or leave it black. I'm gonna leave it black. I think it looks cool black. So there it is, with the roll bar, seats, accessories, and that's the drag car interior. So after a little more consideration, I ended up painting the front end parts. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be lights or part of the grille. I couldn't figure it out from putting it on the base. And also the hood scoop. I ended up chroming that. I think the chrome, after I saw the chrome with the white on here, I was like, oh man, the chrome coming through the white hood is gonna look sweet. I got the first coat of white on now, so you can see it's like glistening white, and then it's going to have a couple chrome details on the vehicle itself, so I thought that would look really cool. So there it is. That's the interior for the drag car. Got to finish painting the spoiler here too. Might actually make that black instead. I was just looking at it, might end up being black, I don't know. But yeah, so there she is, ready to hit the drag strip. Thanks for watching, everybody. Again, this was part of a longer video where I'm building this 68 Mercury Cougar into a drag car. So like the video, comment. I love talking with you guys. Subscribe if you're new, hit the bell for notifications, and we'll see you next time on Rust Belt Diecast Customs.